My sponsor told me that the only step I had to get 100% right was step 1. And that was my downfall. Hello friends, my name is Vas Solo. Welcome to Why Spirit Matters. Today I'm going to tell you about my relapse and the very important lessons that I learned from it. A relapse isn't always a bad thing as long as we learn from it. I didn't relapse because I was miserable and wanted to escape. I didn't relapse because of a craving that I couldn't control. I relapsed because I still had doubt that I was an alcoholic. So I decided to test this theory out by going on a wine tasting trip with my fiance 6 months into my sobriety, which is insane if you think about it, because only 6 months prior to this, I was at my rock bottom. And here I was 6 months later thinking that I was healed and could drink again. This is the insanity of the disease of alcoholism and addiction. But the way that I thought about it at the time seemed to make sense to me. I thought, I'm done working the steps. I feel amazing. I feel recovered. Maybe now that I'm no longer depressed, anxious, and lost, I'll be able to drink like a normal person. You know, the type of person that can have a few drinks and stop. Maybe alcohol won't affect me the way that it used to. My other justification was that alcohol didn't take me to my rock bottom. It was cocaine. So I thought, what's the worst that can happen? I'll drink, I'll see how I feel, and I'll take it from there. So without telling my sponsor or anyone in the program, I conducted my experiment. And here's what happened. On a beautiful day in August, my fiance and I drove to Niagara-on-the-Lake, which is a beautiful wine region. The plan was to go there to celebrate our 2-year anniversary. We were going to do the wine tasting tour, have a romantic dinner, and then stay the night at a hotel. Now, I'll spare you the details of that entire day and focus mainly on what happened when I started drinking. At first, everything was fine. We were having a great time. We were enjoying the day. Niagara-on-the-Lake wine tour. That's how we roll. But after the third winery, my mood started to change. I went from feeling happy and light to feeling restless, irritable, and discontent. All the joy and clarity that I'd felt for the past 2 months faded away. I went from feeling uplifted to feeling down. And like a true alcoholic, I decided that the solution to my problem was to drink more. So we went to a few more wineries. I bought a bottle of wine at one of them to bring to the hotel for later that night, to celebrate. I drank more wine at dinner. I drank that bottle of wine at the hotel. And then I called room service and ordered 2 bottles of beer. And after they had brought it up and I'd finished paying for them, as I turned around with the beer in my hands to go back into the room, I saw my fiance, and she was lying on the bed, awake, and she had tears in her eyes. And right there, I knew that I had screwed up. So I sat on the bed beside her and we talked for a little while, and I ended up pouring the beer down the toilet and going to bed. So here's what I learned from my relapse. I definitely learned that I'm an alcoholic. I cannot drink like a normal person. I also learned that I don't even like drinking anymore because it doesn't make me feel good. When I was in active addiction, I was in such a dark place that drugs and alcohol helped me to get out of that darkness. But after I had my spiritual awakening as a result of working the steps, I felt amazing, and drinking only diminished that state. It was like trading a gourmet meal from McDonald's or a piece of gold for a turd. I also realized that this uplifted and connected state was contingent on me living life a certain way. I had to try to be humble, tolerant, kind, selfless. And if I wasn't, that would have a negative impact on that state. And this was shown to me especially by what happened after the relapse. So, after I had conducted this experiment, the next day I woke up feeling fine. I went back to working the program, and I had no regrets about what had happened. I felt like I did what I had to do, I learned what I needed to learn, and that was it. Now, when I told my sponsor about what had happened, he said, well, are you going to pick up a newcomer chip? Now, this is a chip that you get when you first enter the program, and then you get subsequent chips denoting the number of months or years that you've been clean and sober. And by that point, I had already gotten my 6-month chip. So I said, no, I'm not gonna get a new chip because I don't feel like I'm starting all over again. I don't feel like I fully relapsed. It was just an experiment to find out whether I could drink or not. And he said, that's fine. Do whatever you feel is right. And I did. I kept going to meetings, meditating, and doing exactly what I was doing before. And yet, with each passing day, I felt worse and worse and worse. By the end of the second week, I felt so bad that I knew that I was this close to relapsing. So one day, when I finally couldn't take it anymore, I fell to my knees and I started praying and I asked God to please show me what I needed to do. And immediately the thought came, pick up that newcomer chip. And as soon as that thought came, I felt 50% better. And then when I picked up that chip the next day at the meeting, I felt recovered again. Make of it what you will, to me, this confirmed that the spiritual path is real. And that as long as I continue to grow spiritually, not only will I stay clean and sober, but I'll thrive. And after living this way for the past 3 years, I can honestly tell you that this is true. That's why I don't regret the relapse, because it strengthened my commitment to the program and to the spiritual path. So, if you're someone that's struggling with addiction, I encourage you to go to a meeting, find a sponsor, work the steps. And if you're someone that's having a difficult time in recovery, it does get better. Commit yourself full-heartedly to the spiritual path, talk to your sponsor, pray, and I promise you that you will be given the answer. That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. I upload one video every single week talking about recovery, talking about spirituality, self-improvement, and big ideas. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been in the program, and especially if you've ever relapsed and what you learned from that. Let me know below. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you next time.